Hi, you clicked onto today's tropical tidbit for Monday. Just a quick video this morning. Over here in the Atlantic, you can see things are still fairly quiet over here, not a whole lot going on. We have a few tropical waves, one stuck over the western Yucatan, kind of weakening and dissipating over here, not doing a whole lot. Lots of dry air still in the southern Gulf of Mexico right now. It was firing some convection in the northwest Caribbean over the weekend. We have another tropical wave coming into the eastern Caribbean that will be moving towards this area as well during the next several days, and then we have yet another wave out in the central Atlantic that will be moving into the Caribbean later this week as well. The main feature on the map here is already cut off on the left, Tropical Storm Beatrice in the eastern Pacific. Zooming in on this, we can see a nice core of cold convective cloud tops here. This will be strengthening slowly but steadily over the next couple of days, likely becoming a weak hurricane, but not too awfully strong. Moving northwest here, NHC has it making a very close call with a landfall in southwest Mexico over here, so these folks all along this coastline are going to have to watch this system very carefully, if not for heavy rains, but perhaps some wind issues as well if this makes a close run at the coast. And these folks will have to watch for this second storm of the season for the eastern Pacific. If we go out to the GFS day 5 over here, this is the system that it was going to try to develop last week and was the only model in doing so, and I kind of had a feeling it would back off on this a little bit, and it kind of has just an open trough now showing from this system as the monsoon trough finally lifts north a little bit here. You can see that Beatrice has helped lift this trough a little bit farther north, and this will eventually try to invade the Gulf of Mexico a little bit over the next several days this week, and trying to get a little bit of precipitation going in this region. There's very little model support for any development during this week's time frame. We've kind of shifted ahead a little bit with the upper ridge configuration over here. We don't get it fully integrated into here during this week. The models have now shifted a little bit farther ahead in the timeline to the tail end of the month, where this is days 10 through 12. Here you can see broad low pressure came out of here in the southwest Caribbean and moved into the Gulf of Mexico with the monsoon trough, showing a batch of precipitation moving into the Gulf of Mexico and affecting the North Gulf Coast by next week, before right at the tail end of the month of the first 2 days of July. The European shows a little bit here in the Bay of Campeche by day 9, which is again next week before the end of the month, and this is when the European has started to hint at something in this area. Not really a strong hint, but any kind of hint that it does have is for next week, not this week. And this is the NAIFS showing the same kind of deal. Weak hints at low pressure on the ensemble mean here, with the pink color showing variance in the members, showing that some are showing low pressure in the Gulf of Mexico by day 11 over here, which is again next week when the ridge finally starts to come north here, and the models are now saying that conditions will be prime by this time frame as well. You can see the precipitation under this on the ensemble mean. So there's not a whole lot of model support right now. To see it jump ahead in the timeline is something that implies inconsistency and a wavering solution on seeing whether we can actually get development out of this pattern, though the idea here remains the same, that the MJO is over this area of the world. This is what spawned Beatrice. This is what has allowed convection to be on the increase in the Caribbean here. We've got tropical waves piling in one at a time here. Eventually, as the energy piles into this area with the upward motion, I expect that there will be opportunities, not necessarily full developments, but opportunities for mischief to get going in this area of the world. So we have to watch this region to see if we get something to spark in here, if the upper level winds become favorable for a long enough period to allow pressures to start lowering at the surface and heat to consolidate into a confined region that can start to feed back and develop. So we're going to have to just watch the situation. In reality, the last few days have been fairly active on the satellite image for June. This region has not been dead for this time of year, and it's hard to get June named storms. We only get one every 3 seasons, so we can't be too impatient here. But we are waiting and watching, especially for these folks in the drought here. We want something to get drawn north here. That break in the ridge will be available into next week as well, so if we get something to develop in this area, we can perhaps get some rain northward for these folks in here. So we are hoping for that over the next couple of weeks before June is over. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.